I want to do a short video to address the issues that some people are facing regarding what's on Google about CacheFX and also the FCA warning that people are coming up against. So the first thing I want to deal with is CacheFX on Google. One of the tenets of the Power Build training is that we use the golden rule. And the golden rule is that we never tell anyone the name of the company and we never answer questions. And part one of the golden rule is there to protect you from people doing what I'm about to show you. So if you give somebody the name of the company, the first thing they're going to do is Google, because they want to know who this company are. And as soon as they Google it, they start to see things like CacheFX Group FCA, and then they start to see things like brutal scam, cash review, scam or legit, etc., etc. So I want to deal with these things first because there is a problem with these things. And the problem is that they're not what they seem to be. And when you see what they are and understand what they are, then you will understand why they are not to be considered and why they shouldn't be considered. However, I go back to my point. If you use the golden rule, you'll never have to explain this away. I just want to show you something. If we look at Alexa, Alexa.com top sites, what this does is it tells you the trending websites on the internet. So if we go here, we can see all the top trending websites are here. And there is a paid thing here where you can pay to use this, and you can type in the name of a company and find out how well that company is doing. And I happen to know that CacheFX is soaring up the Alexa charts because of the way the company is growing. And people who set up these web pages that I'm about to show you use Alexa to find companies that are very, very, very high traffic, such as CacheFX, because they want to hit those markets. They want to hit those people who are interested in what CacheFX are doing, and they want to divert that traffic away to their websites. So now that you understand where they find out about CacheFX and how well we're doing, let's just go back and we'll have a look at this. So this website has been put here by somebody who wants to give you the impression that they are some benign reviewer of these things. Nothing could be further from the truth, and we'll get into why that's the case in a moment. So they use something called clickbait in the headline. So they will use CacheFX Group Review, scam or legit. They're not actually saying it's a scam, they're asking a question. And they do it this way so they don't get sued by CacheFX, because they know that if they actually came out and said that CacheFX is a scam, the lawyers for the company would be all over them. So what we're going to do is we're going to investigate this one here, for example, and we're going to look at it in detail. So we're going to click at it. And before I click on it, what most people do is they go on Google, they type in CacheFX, they go FCA warning, scam, 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 scam. Oh, I've done my research and CacheFX is a scam. That's not research. Not at all. What that is just looking on Google and scanning the headlines and going, well, I've done some research, it must be a scam because it's on Google. How stupid is that? But that's what most people do when you give them the name of the company, which is why I go back to the golden rule. Never, ever give anyone the name of the company. Now, let's go and have a look at this one. So we land on this page. It's called Online Wealth Chronicles, Scam or Legit Compensation Plan. And they use words like exposed and scam and legit to put into your mind that it's wrong. They're psychologically using words to give you an impression, or they're psychologically using words to give the viewer the impression. So it's all about fear-based. It's all about fear building, or what the NLP practitioners call chunking. They're adding in fear upon fear upon fear upon fear to make you, or make the viewer believe that this is a scam. And he puts a picture there with his baby to make him look all rosy and look all trustworthy. It's a common thing, they do that. Okay, so what happens is as you start to go down, and some of you may have just noticed this pop up as I've scrolled down. We'll come back to that. And they put CacheFX Group Review in what's called a H2 tag to make it stand out on Google. That's an unauthorized use of our logo, and I'm sure the company should be acting to get that removed. And that's an unauthorized use of our images. And actually, if you read this, what they don't actually say is they don't actually say that this company is a scam. They don't actually say that CacheFX is a scam. They don't actually tell you anything that you don't already know about CacheFX. Okay, there's nothing in here, but what they do is link to other great reviews to try and get you to go to their page. Again, use of images. I don't know whether that's lawful or not. And all they do is they tell you about the program. They tell you about the program. They don't actually say this is a scam. But you'll notice lots and lots and lots and lots of advertising here, okay? And when you get to a certain page, boom. When you get to a certain point in the page, boom, the advertising kicks in. This is the whole point of these pages. This is what they want you to do. They want you to click on this or this because this is what they're trying to sell you. The person who you gave the name of the company to, they know that person is doubtful or fearful about the CashFX company. So they play on that fear. They play on it to get them to come to whatever it is they're offering. So let's go and have a look at what they're offering. We can see, here we go, your own investment brokerage at a fraction of the cost. So now what they're trying to do is capture your data to try and make you think that they're your best friend because you've saved them from CashFX. That's what they're trying to instill in the person who has come to CashFX or Googled CashFX because you gave them the name of the company. So I go back to the golden rule. If you don't want to lose your prospect to these people or to the, oh, I've done my research on Google and CashFX is a scam line, then don't give them the name of the company. We've gone over this again and again and again in the Power Bill Part 1. Why would you do it? Why would you expose yourself to having to explain this away? Just don't give them the name of the company, and the scripts are there for how to get rid of it, how to get around that. There are plenty of people in CashFX, me included, Richard, many other people. We've all signed up people, hundreds of people, without telling them the name of the company. Because once they get on our call, they realize that we've got something good. But 90% of the people who you give the name of the company will go to Google and they'll end up landing on one of these websites and getting hooked into whatever it is these guys are trying to pitch. But they don't actually say anywhere in this that it's a scam. They simply ask the question, is it or isn't it? But they don't actually say it is. They don't actually say it is. They ask the question, is it is? And he says here, if you look at, in my opinion, no, CashFX Group is not a scam. But the company business model does have some very serious issues. And he's saying that to cover his backside. He's saying that so that CashFX don't sue him. Because he knows if he said it was a scam, then he'd be sued. And at the end of the day, this is just someone's opinion. It's one person's opinion out of millions and millions and millions of people on the internet. You can't weigh this as valuable. It isn't. Its whole purpose is to capture our traffic, the traffic that you're sending to Google. Let's face it. You go, somebody says, what's the company name? And you go, oh, it's CashFX. What's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to go here and they're going to go Google it. And then they go, oh yeah, it's a scam. I'm not doing that. Don't give people the name of the company until they've been on the call. Let them find out the right way. Just don't do it. If you do that, you're doomed. You're going to have to sit there and explain this away. And I haven't got time to do that. I'm sure you haven't got time to do that. The fastest, sweetest, best method is don't tell anyone the name of the company. Don't answer any questions and just keep inviting them to the call. Let the call do the work. Let the call bring them in. Don't give them the name of the company. So that shows you the worthlessness of all of these. They're all the same. They're all there to just get you to sign up for something else. Not worth the digits they're written on. Let's deal with the FCA one now. So when you give somebody the name of CashFX and they go and Google it, one of the first things they see is the CashFX Group FCA warning. Okay, so let's go and click on that and let's deal with this because many of you are coming across this because you're giving away the name of the company before somebody's been on a call. So they go here, and I've been in business a long time. And I understand what I used to work in the banking sector. I understand what the FCA are. They're the Financial Conduct Authority. They're not the government. That's the first thing you need to know. They are not the government. They're a quango, a quasi-autonomous, non-governmental organisation. They're a body that was set up by the government and then handed control of themselves. But they're not the government. So let's have a look at what they say about CashFX Group. It says warnings. We believe this firm has been providing financial services or product in the UK. Let's just stop there. We believe. Well, my question to the FCA would be, well, don't you have any evidence? Surely, if you're going to make that statement, you must have some evidence that this has been going on. But because the FCA have no evidence, they have to use clever words like, we believe this firm has been providing financial services or product in the UK. The reason they use that wording is because they have no evidence, none whatsoever. So they have to use this kind of language. And then they say, we believe this firm has been providing financial services and products in the UK without our authorization. Well, it's a fact, if you go and research it, that you don't need the FCA's authorization to offer financial services or products in the UK. Some do, some don't. But you don't actually need it, particularly if you're a company that doesn't have an office in the UK, like CashFX, as many companies don't, and I'm going to come on to that in a moment. You don't need authorization. In fact, there is a massive non-regulated industry in the financial sector running in the UK that doesn't need the FCA authority to do that business. There are regulated financial advisors and there are non-regulated. So we don't actually need their authorization. But I'll come on to why they put that in a moment. Then it says, and this is clever wording so that they don't get sued, find out why to be especially wary of dealing with this unauthorized firm and how to protect yourself from scammers. Now, if you read that correctly, it says that we're on an unauthorized firm, or they claim that we're on an unauthorized firm. And that's true. We're not authorized by them. We don't claim to be. But then they say, and how to protect yourself from scammers. They don't say, be wary of dealing with CashFX and how to protect yourself from being scammed by CashFX, because they know they can't say that because it's not true. It just is not true. So what they do is use clever words again. This was obviously written by a lawyer. And how to protect yourself from scammers. Well, that could be anybody. That could just be anybody. It could be the Queen, for all we know. She might be a scammer. She definitely doesn't need FCA authorization. So again, clever use of wordage gives the impression to somebody who doesn't read it correctly and doesn't understand how to read it, gives the impression that we might be a scam company. We're not. And they're not saying that. And they don't say it anywhere. And in fact, what they do, if you read the rest of this, all of that is nothing to do with CashFX. That's just their standard blurb about what they want. Then they give some information about CashFX. They give the website and the address. That's it. And then everything else on that page is nothing to do with CashFX. So what they're trying to do here is the FCA are trying to create the impression through the use of standard blurb that has no relation to CashFX. They're trying to link it to us to make the gullible viewer, and believe me, if somebody believes it, they're gullible. I'm sorry, but they are. To make the gullible viewer believe that this has some credibility. And they know that it doesn't, and we know that it doesn't. Okay? Now, let's just talk about without our authorization. As many of you know, I run a software company, and our sales director was for 22 years a financial advisor to high net worth individuals. And he has two phrases that he uses to describe the FCA. He calls them a protection racket and the mafia. Okay? Because it's a fact that in the FCA, in the UK, sorry, it's a fact that in the UK, if you pay the FCA some money, you're their best friend. You're approved. You've got the badge. You're in the club because you're paying the subs. If you're not paying them the money, they don't like you. And they try and keep you out of the game. And that's how this works. So if we want to talk about scams, let's talk about the FCA. Got to be one of the biggest scams in the country. Because basically all they're doing is running a protection racket. Okay, they're saying if you're in the financial sector and you don't pay us any money, we'll call you an unauthorized business, which will affect you. What right have they got to do that to businesses? Who the hell are these people? They're just some bunch of jobs worth trying to scam people out of money, scam legitimate businesses out of money. And my sales director absolutely hates the FCA. And I know a load of other financial advisors who also hate the FCA. The FCA changed all the rules about 5 or 6 years ago. And over 50% of the FAs, the financial advisors in the UK, quit because of those rule changes. Because they weren't going to play the game anymore with the FCA. They quit. They went and did other things. So I wanted to give you an overview of why the rubbish on the internet can't be trusted and why the FCA page here can't be trusted. It's all utter nonsense. It's designed to instill fear into the gullible people who believe this rubbish. But when you put sensible eyes on it and you put logic and reason onto it, You know, my father once said to me, whenever you read something on the television, or you hear something on the television, you hear something on the radio, or you read something in a paper, remember, somebody is paying for that to be there, or for that message to be put out there. And the question you have to ask yourself is, well, if they're paying for it, who benefits? The FCA paid to have their web people put this page up. They're paying for the hosting for this. They're paying for the domain name. Why? Why would they do it? Because there's money to be made. If they can force a company into paying them their subscriptions by doing this to the company, they'll do it because they've got no morals. They're a mafia. They're a scam protection racket. And that's why you've got to be wary of it. And that's why you've got to be wary of when people Google Cash FX. You know, if you're one of those people that's looked at this stuff and gone, oh, it's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam. There are 35,000 people, I think, in this business right now who will tell you differently. We're all making money. So who do you believe? The person that's actually making money out of this? Or do you believe some scam site that's trying to get money out of you, or some nasty move by the FCA because we don't pay their subscription fees? You've got to start thinking about this, particularly if you're one of those people who's looking at this and you're new to Cash FX. Apply some logic. Do your own due diligence. I'm not stupid. I did my due diligence. Richard's not stupid. He did his due diligence. Everyone's done their due diligence. Do your own due diligence. You'll find out the truth. And the truth is that Cash FX is a legitimate legacy company that is paying people every day, every week, every 2 weeks, day in, day out. People are getting paid. I hope this has been useful to you. Thanks for your time.